Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for the mid-season premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 11, Aftershocks. And wow, I can't believe the show is finally back, and I can't believe how long it's been since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's been on. It's been since December that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's been on. That's how long we've had to go without Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know, it's pretty crazy, but Agent Carter took its place, and now that that's over, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back, and wow, I couldn't be happier with this episode, really. This was a very dark episode for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, it definitely seems like the show is going in a much darker direction. I mean, the season so far has been dark, but there has been comedy in there. No, this was straight comedy. There wasn't even a post-credit scene in this episode. That's how different this episode felt, which I really enjoyed. And this episode definitely had big shoes to fill because of how good the mid-season finale was. Because, you know, the mid-season finale was amazing, and I absolutely love this episode. I really love what it's setting up, and I can't wait to see next week's episode. But let's just get into this one. So we start off in 1983, and we meet Gordan, who... Gordan is this new character who right away you can tell that he is an Inhuman. And he is this guy with no eyes. He doesn't have... It's kind of creepy, honestly. He doesn't have any eyes. He teleports randomly around his cell, and then we see Daisy's mother, Jiang. Some people are still calling her Sky. I'm calling her Daisy because that's her real name. You guys can call her what you want, but I'm going to call her Daisy. So, her assistant Yatsen comes in, but Gordan doesn't recognize them. And Yatsen explains that Gordan underwent Terrigenis 14 hours ago, and he's very emotional. And Jiang dismisses Yatsen and talks to Gordan, whose eyes have grown over. He asks what has happened to him, and Jiang offers her hand to him. And Gordan stumbles over, focusing only on her voice, because of course he can't see her, so that's really all he can do. And once he does, she says that she'll show him the way. He begins to cry, but says that he can't because he's just so upset, and he doesn't have eyes, so obviously he can't cry, and it's a really sad scene. So later, Jiang and Yatsen watch Gordan in his cell, and Jiang points out that every cell in the boy has changed, but notes that he's young enough to adapt and old enough to understand. So Yatsen says that it's a blessing that Jiang ages so slowly, letting her counsel so many through the change. Without her, the transform would be lost. You can definitely tell that he is an Inhuman, and that was a great way to start the episode. So we go back to the present, and this kind of has to do with Daisy, because, you know, Daisy now knows that she is an Inhuman, of course, and everything, and there's not too much talk about that in this episode, because the episode mainly focuses on the death of Tripp and people getting over it. So, scientists are examining Daisy in the quarantine lab, and later she dozes off and dreams of Tripp dying in the Inhuman city. She wakes up, and there's Coulson. Coulson tells her that he can't sleep either, and he knows how upset she is. And he reminds her that she and Tripp went down to stop, and I like that he says this to her, that she and Tripp went down to stop Hydra from setting off a cataclysm, and the obelisk set off a massive earthquake, and Coulson points out that it would have been much worse if Tripp hadn't destroyed the obelisk, which, yeah, it probably was the best thing for Tripp to destroy. However, Skye is not entirely sure. Skye feels this is her fault, and she's really upset about the whole thing, and he assures Skye that Tripp was a hero, and says that once medical clears her, Skye will be out with the rest of them. So, I really felt bad for Daisy in this episode, definitely. So, Melinda's hitting a bag while Mac works on equipment with Fitz helping him, and Bobby's packing away Tripp's things while Lance is drinking. And Coulson admits that sometimes he wants to run away and avoid the grief, and Daisy says that she couldn't do it even if she tried. And she asks about Gemma, and Coulson explains that she took a team into the city to document the tunnels, because, I mean, if you remember, in the mid-season finale, they were all split up. They all were doing different things, so they really have no idea where they all are, and they just want to get the team back together so they can all just grieve together. And in the city, we see a worker take out the pieces of Tripp, while Gemma assures the structural integrity, and Coulson tells Daisy that Gemma will flood the city if necessary, and explains that the temple collapsed on itself. He admits that they hadn't found Raina's body yet, and Daisy says that they have failed because of her, and she reminds Coulson that if she hadn't gone down there, they could have destroyed the city safely. And Coulson insists that Tripp prevented disaster and Whitehold's dead, and promises to crush Hydra once and for all, whoever the enemy may be. And, you know, he doesn't know exactly who he's going after, but he knows that they are still going after Hydra, because the Hydra plot is not over. Remember, they lost. Remember that. They did not win this. They lost, and they're just on, like, a temporary, you know, Hydra is just not really, it's, you know, we're trying to figure out who's going to be the new big villain of Hydra. And we find out in this episode because we meet Octavian Bloom, who he hosts a meeting of Hydra's secret council of bankers, sheriffs, and loyalty, and they share a toast to Whitehall's demise. And one of the councilmen, Dr. List, points out that there's a management vacancy that needs filling. So he suggests that Sunil will take over, and Bloom says that he's probably been captured by S.H.I.E.L.D., and List figures that S.H.I.E.L.D. will emerge now that they have won, and the person who removes them permanently will win Whitehall's position. And I think that's fair overall. I mean, whoever removes someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. Will get Whitehall's position. I can understand that. So meanwhile, he'll find out if Whitehall produced something with his research, and I thought that was very interesting because you have Octavian Bloom and you have Dr. List, and both of them want to really be leaders, so I thought that was very interesting when they said that. They don't really know who's going to be the leader right now. So in the Kree City, someone grabs one of the workers, pulls him off the shadows, and after a moment, the transformed Raina emerges. Now, again, we don't know what Raina is. We don't know what she is exactly. We do know that she is definitely an Inhuman. I'm pretty sure she's going to be an Inhuman. We just don't know who she's going to be yet. And I like that they're trying to keep her identity secret because I don't want to know what she is yet. I don't. I want them to keep it as secret as possible. And I even want them to be something where we've never even heard of her character. I mean, think about it, guys. We don't really know too much about the Inhumans, so I really like that they're introducing them on this show, and I definitely am really enjoying that because this is all going to connect eventually to the Inhumans movie in 2020. That's what this is all going to connect to eventually. So Gemma and her people confirm that the walls rely on electromagnetic energy to support themselves, and she figures that they found out everything they can and gives the order to 2 workers to wrap up. So once she leaves, Raina emerges from the shadows and kills them, stares at her reflection in one of their helmets, and Gemma returns, shoots at her, and Raina rides the elevator up and makes good her escape. So Bobby brings Skye a bag, and it's just a bag with things to get her through quarantine. And the agent says that she's been in quarantine before and knows what Skye is going through, and she assures Skye that she did good and walks away. So in the mess room, Fitz is examining, and I like what Bobby says to Skye, that she knows, what Skye is going through and everything. She gives her all this coping mechanism stuff and things like that, and I thought that was a very good scene overall. I definitely really enjoyed that. So in the mess room, Fitz is examining Daisy's watch, which was damaged in the cave-in, and Matt comes in and Fitz explains that it recorded Daisy's body readings. However, he admits that he's having trouble concentrating, and Mac offers to get him an electronic kit and refuses to discuss what happened to him when he was possessed. And Fitz says that he knows what he's going through, trapped in body without being able to control it, and Mac just snaps him because, I mean, Fitz doesn't know exactly what he's going through. What happened with Fitz was that he was seeing those visions of Gemma because he had PTSD and everything. This happened to Mac because he was possessed. This had nothing to do with Fitz being possessed. So technically, Fitz and Mac don't have the same thing going on, but he glances over at Daisy in the quarantine lab. He then asks Fitz to bring up the schematics to the base, and he apologized for snapping at him. And basically, he wants him to bring up the schematics to the base to make sure that no one else is taken over by the alien substance. Because they want to make sure that this is done, that this is not going to happen to anyone else, because it happened to him, it happened to Tripp, it happened to a lot of people, so they don't want this to happen to anyone else, and they're very worried it's going to, because, again, they don't really know what's out there. All they know is that they lost and that Hydra's still out there. So I like how smart they all are being, definitely. So Gemma calls in what happened and says that Raina was covered in thorns when she saw her. She says she has gathered blood that Raina left behind, is ready to flood the city. However, she wants to come back to the base to check on Daisy and analyze the samples. And Coulson and Melinda figure that Raina was transformed the same way that Daisy was. And Coulson tells Gemma to come home. He then tells Melinda to gather everything because they're going after Hydra. So later the team meet in the lab, and Coulson tells the team that they're going to use Sunil as bait to get to the people responsible for Tripp's death. And Max snaps and wonders if they led Hydra to the city, blames Coulson and Daisy for obsessing over the alien messages. Because, I mean, they were obsessed over. Of course, Coulson can read those alien messages, and, Daisy was concerned about finding her father and everything. So it is kind of their fault in some way, but it's really everybody's fault if you think about it, because they didn't know what they were doing exactly. So Coulson says that he shouldn't have to ask any of them to save on their own, and Mac accuses him of just ordering them no matter his mental state. The team starts arguing, and Daisy's listening and tells him to stop. They don't hear her. A can starts to shake, and as Daisy grabs it, the vibrations stop. And Coulson says that if Tripp is there, then he'd be gearing up what to do, needs to be done. He tells everyone to be ready by morning and walks off. One of the things I like is that Tripp was not a huge character on the show, but they treat him really like he was, and I definitely really enjoyed that because Tripp really didn't have a lot to do on the show, but when he had a lot to do on the show, he definitely was a big part of the show. So, Coulson and Melinda go to Sunil's cell. They have Talbot on webcam, and the general's happy to take him in return for providing S.H.I.E.L.D., with help mopping up the remaining Hydra forces. And once he signs off, they take Sunil to an SUV and drive off. And as Melinda drives, Coulson figures that she agrees with others, and she objects to them contacting the U.S. government and worries that Talbot has leaked in his organization. So a truck rams the SUV, shoving it into a nearby warehouse, and Hydra soldiers open fire. So Melinda and Coulson return fire, toss explosive grenades at them. They take out all but 4 of them, and Melinda then leaps and shoots the others. She warns that more will be coming, and Coulson gets Sunil out of the out of the SUV. A Hydra soldier runs up, shoots Melinda, killing her, and Coulson tries to shoot back, but the soldier kills him as well. And then they tell Sunil to get into the van, and they'll use it as escape. So, that was pretty crazy when that happened. So, basically, I didn't know what was going to happen to Coulson and Melinda, but it looked like, I knew they weren't going to die, obviously. I mean, they're the 2 main characters of the show. There's no way they're going to die. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. So, as they drive away, the soldier, Lance, confirms that Whitehall is dead, and then he takes orders from Sunil now. So, back at the warehouse, so basically, Lance is going undercover, basically, to take orders from Sunil, and I like this. So, back at the warehouse, Coulson, Melinda, and the fake Hydra soldiers get up. Bobby's among them, takes a motorcycle after the SUV, because, of course, they weren't really dead. They had to fake it because they had to pretend to be Hydra soldiers. So Fitz is examining Daisy's watch when Mac comes over and tells him that Coulson's plan worked, and he notes that Fitz's hands are getting better, and Fitz admits that he's totally confused by what he's seeing. And the scientist explains that the watch was crushed from the inside out, but he won't be able to decipher it until Gemma gets back. So, as they talk, Gemma arrives by plane, and Sunil makes contact with Bloom and informs him that he's free. He says that he's a few hours out and will soon be there. And once Sunil cuts off, Lance draws his gun so that he has orders to take him out once he makes contact, and Sunil offers him triple what his employees are paying, assuring him that money is no object. He assures Lance that it's his chance to get in good with Hydra, and Lance agrees. So, of course, Lance, they're still going on with the plan. I did not know what was going to happen here, but I kind of was worried about Lance. If you guys know, Lance is probably my favorite character on this show, just have to say. I think he's great, but maybe Daisy is now. I really think Daisy is becoming my favorite character after this, but then we get to the Gemma and Daisy scene, which I thought this was an amazing scene. I have to say, whoever plays Daisy and whoever plays Gemma, amazing performances from pretty much the whole cast in this episode, but especially from whoever plays Daisy. I don't remember her name because it's been a while, but whoever plays her, amazing job. So as the technician takes a blood sample, Gemma tells Daisy how Raina transformed. They've separated her DNA and determined that it contains extra macromolecules. Gemma insists that they need to make sure that Daisy isn't infected or fear of an epidemic, and Daisy's assuring her that there was nothing she could do, but Gemma says that she let her courtesy get better of her when she should have terminated. She points out all the alien horrors that have been unleashed as more people have gotten powers, and she points out the Avengers, but Gemma says this has nothing to do with the Avengers, and I think that kind of sums up the whole show, because, I mean, what's going on is beyond the Avengers. It really is. I mean, the Avengers can't help them with everything. So I like that she mentioned that because, yeah, the Avengers are still out there, obviously, but this has nothing to do with them. She's talking about the Inhumans and those kind of people. So Gemma finally breaks into tears, says that Tripp is dead and promises that it ends with him. She then goes to analyze Daisy's blood, and she pretty much is losing hope, you can tell. Gemma's losing hope, and I really felt bad for her there. So at the docks in San Juan, Cal pays off a man. Of course, Cal, Daisy's father, says he'll stay low. And I was kind of wondering, where is Cal going to be? Is he going to be loyal to S.H.I.E.L.D? Is he going to be loyal to Hydra? Kind of seems like he's making his own team, which I kind of predicted that was going to happen. So Raina finds him, says that she knew she'd find her there. She then grabs Cal, revealing she's been transformed into an animal-like humanoid, and demands to know what she's become. And we see her transformation in this episode, and it's pretty awesome, I have to say. Raina wonders why she's a freak of nature instead of the angel that her grandmother promised, and blames Cal, and Cal says that she's the one who wanted it. But Raina said that Daisy was there and came out unchanged. He's shocked to hear that Daisy's alive, because he thought Daisy died because of what happened to Tripp. And then throws Raina on the ground. He rants about how Coulson robbed him of his revenge against Whitehall. Because if you remember, Coulson killed Whitehall before he could. So he definitely has it out for Coulson, which I can understand that if he has it out for Coulson. It doesn't appear that they're working for S.H.I.E.L.D. What it appears is that they're going to make their own team. And I definitely feel like they're going to try to recruit Daisy. Because, I mean, this is her father we're talking about. He wants to be with Daisy. He wants to have a life with Daisy. He wants to get, he just wants the best for Daisy. So I think that they're definitely gonna recruit Daisy. It's pretty obvious that that's what's gonna happen there. So Raina says that Daisy will never love him, and Cal figures that he can contact the people on the index and reminds, Daisy that she belongs with them. And when Raina begs him to help, Cal says that she's on her own now and says that she now has her lifelong dream. And Raina says that she can live as a repulsive creature. Cal tells her not to, turns away, and after a moment, Raina draws her hood up and walks away. It's really sad what happened to Raina. I mean, she doesn't realize what's happening to her. And she's really, to her, she's just this hideous creature. And you honestly do feel bad for her. I felt bad for Raina in this episode. Kind of interesting how bad I felt for her and how much they made me feel for her character. Because I thought that was a very, very well executed scene. And I definitely felt bad for her there. So Sunil has Lance drive him to Bloom's manor and goes inside. And Bobby gets in and says that she's canvassed the area and they now have to wait. And Lance points out that she and Mac are still keeping their secret. She doesn't believe Bobby's denial. And after a moment, she explains that they're in a support group. And Lance bursts into laughter. And Bobby says that they needed help coping after the organization they belong to turn against them. And he says it's actually healthy and assures Bobby that he's glad to hear it. So, at the base, Mac tells Coulson that the ventilation system's secure. He apologized for his earlier outburst and admits the losing Tripp brought up some really bad memories. Because, of course, he did freak out before, and Gemma suggests that if they have to kill Raina, it will prevent infection. As they go, they're unaware that Daisy's actually listening to them. So, this kind of makes me think that Daisy's going to sort of help Raina because Raina's going through the same thing that Daisy is. Raina has it a lot worse than Daisy. Daisy has not completely changed into this creature. Daisy's still her normal self. Probably because, she wants to not tell them what's really going on with her. Because they don't know. They know she's an inhuman, but they don't know everything else that's going on with her. So, this was just, basically, that was really sad to see. So inside the manor, Bloom and Sunil call List. Sunil passes on what Lance said, assuming that it's the other Hydra members turning against them. They warn List and promise to smooth things over, and once List hangs up, Bloom goes to send word, and Sunil suggests that they kill Lance. And I have to say, their plan is definitely working, but of course, they kill Lance, nothing's going to happen, because he's not an actual Hydra soldier. So if they kill him, nothing's going to happen because they tried it with Coulson and Melinda. And I have to say, S.H.I.E.L.D. is definitely getting smarter here. Well, they're not S.H.I.E.L.D., but Coulson's team is definitely getting smarter here. And this next scene was just so sad to see. Raina goes to a bridge, prepares to step into traffic, killing herself, and you just feel so bad for her. She has no idea what's happening to her, and she doesn't realize what she's really becoming, and it's just so sad to see. So Daisy's listening to her headphones, and she sees Fitz outside the quarantine cell. He says that he fixed the watch, checked her vitals, and notes, and that her heart was going at 100 BPM. He starts to panic as he describes how they found Skye unharmed. The bottles in the lab start to vibrate, and Raina steps forward onto the road. And Fitz figures that Daisy survived the destruction because she caused it. And I thought they were going to kill off Raina in this episode. I'm going to be honest. I really did. I thought that's what was going to happen here. Daisy clutches at her head, and the lamp in the lab explodes. And Fitz runs out in a panic as Daisy stares after him. She tries to clean up the glass, cutting her hand. Melinda comes in and asks if she's doing okay. Scott and Daisy says that she's feeling like a caged animal, and says she's never seen Coulson so ruthless before. Because Coulson essentially is doing this all for her. He really is, and I love that he's doing that for her, and I love that Daisy is respecting them more and more and more. I thought that was definitely very well done. So, Coulson goes to Tripp's mother and breaks the news about her son's death. She breaks into tears. Coulson hugs her. It's a very small moment, but a very effective one. Because, I mean, one of the worst things you can ever do is have to tell somebody's mother that, hey, your son is dead, and it's really sad to see. So Bloom sends out a coded message to 3 of his men, all close to the other Hydra council members, and Hydra agents surround the SUV and open fire. The SUV is bulletproof, and Lance activates the hidden weaponry to gun them down. He then smashes through the gate. Each of the assassins kill their target council member, and Lance and Bobby enter the manor. They kill Bloom and his guards, so no one realizes that Coulson set the whole thing up so they kill each other, and Bobby assures him that he's safe and leads him off, because they need Sunil. So it definitely seems like they're just going to keep taking out Hydra agents one by one, and I love how strong this is making them all. I think that's amazing how strong it's making them. So Melinda notices the blood on Daisy's hand, and just as Gemma comes in, they says that, basically she says that they should be able to realize Daisy as soon as the DNA results come back. So they ask what happened, and Fitz comes in, says that he knocked over the lamp and broke the glass. He shows them Daisy's DNA results, which confirm that she's normal, and she's not normal, though. We know that she's an inhuman, so definitely, I don't know what's going on there. I think that she's not fully transformed. I think that she's kind of unaware, and it's not as, effective as what's happening to Raina right now. Like, it's not happening as fast, so I don't know exactly what's going on there, but we know that she's an inhuman because, Cal told her that her name is Daisy Johnson. So they should keep Skye safe until they figure it out, and touched, Daisy hugs her friend, breaks into tears. She blames herself and says that there's something wrong with her. Fitz assures her that she's just different and there's nothing wrong with that. And I thought that was a very well done scene. Seeing how supportive they are towards her, I absolutely love. My fear, though, is that they're going to be upset when they find out what's really happening to her and that she's really inhuman, because I don't think they realize that yet. So Raina walks out among the passing cars, but S.H.I.E.L.D. agents pull up. They say that they're not there to harm her. Raina says they either kill her or she'll make them. Gordan suddenly teleports in, surrounding Raina with a force field, says that he'll show her the way as he teleports away with her. And I kind of feel like Gordan is working with Cal, definitely. You can tell that Gordan and Cal have something going on. I mean, we saw Gordan in the first episode. You knew he was going to come, we saw Gordan in the beginning of the episode. You knew he was going to come into play somehow. And when that happened, I'm like, you know what? I think Gordan's going to work with, I think Gordan, Raina, and Cal are going to team up to recruit Daisy. I really think that's what's going to happen there. So in Coulson's office, the RC model of Lola comes to life, scans the room, and finds a compartment in the desk, and then the last scene. There's no post-credit scene in this episode, which I actually kind of like, because it was kind of, we got that in the first scene, so we don't really need a post-credit scene in this episode, which I like seeing. So the team is relaxing, telling stories about Tripp, and Mac is making some food in the kitchen. When Bobby comes in, Mac tells her that he's confirmed the Fury's toolbox is in Coulson's office. He says they're almost good to go, and Bobby says that she'll make contact soon. And if you remember, Bobby is planning on leaving, if you remember, with, that's what she's planning on doing. So they go back in, and Daisy says they're going to laugh a lot less now that Tripp is gone. And everyone is really upset, but they're all grieving really well, and that's basically how the episode ends. So overall, guys, this was a pretty awesome episode, I have to say. This was a very sad episode. It was very hard to watch at points, because it's all about grieving over Tripp and just what grief can do to a person, and I love seeing that in this episode. But there's a lot to talk about. Let's first talk about Daisy. Daisy, I think what's going on with Daisy is that she's just unaware of her powers right now. She doesn't realize that, yeah, she is an inhuman, and that it's just not going to happen as rapid as Raina, and definitely she's going to be recruited by Cal, and because Cal wants a relationship with her. You can tell. I mean, Cal was so desperate to have a relationship with her in the last episode that there is no doubt that he is going to try to recruit her and try to get her to work with him and Raina. Without a doubt, he is going to do that. I'm calling it now. There's no way that he is not just going to let her, not get a chance to. He's going to recruit her. That, without a doubt, he's going to recruit her. I'm calling it now. That's what's going to happen there. So as far as Raina goes, Raina, Cal, and Gordan, I think, are definitely going to team up and kind of start their own team against Hydra. I love that Coulson is just so much more powerful now, and that Tripp's death has only made them so much more powerful, and they're going to take down Hydra agents one by one by one. If that's how this season is going, I'm all for it. I think that's awesome if they want to take it there. I think that's amazing, because Hydra now is not even powerful to them. Hydra they're taking down, it's awesome to see. I love that. But my question is, who really is going to be the villain now? I don't think there's really going to be one now, because now we're focusing on the Inhumans. We need to stop focusing on Hydra as much and focus more on the Inhumans, which I definitely like seeing. So I think that's really well done. So do they really understand what Daisy really is? They realize that she's an Inhuman. I don't think they do at this point. And I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Definitely there's going to be a lot more grieving over Tripp. I like seeing that there's going to be more grieving over Tripp. What is their plan with Sunil? What do they plan to do with Sunil? Because they let him live. So I don't know really what they want to do. I think they're going to use Sunil as an asset at some point. I don't know when. But I definitely feel like Sunil is going to be working with them. I don't know how. I don't know to what capacity. But he definitely is going to be working with them somehow. Don't know exactly what's going to happen there, but we will have to see what happens there. Because I think that's really interesting. If he is working with them, I want to see what capacity he's working with them at, and I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. So overall, guys, this was another fantastic episode. Very dark episode. Definitely not as good as the mid-season finale, but I didn't think it was going to be. It was a great way to start off the second half of the season, though. Very dark, very brutal stuff. And I definitely really love the brutality that this has done to everyone. And the effect that this had on Daisy was amazing to see as well. Now, just let me know what you guys saw of this episode. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of The Americans. So I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.